Okay, so you're a seeker, but you don't really want to get involved with the church just now. You just kind of want to get your feet wet, you know. And the best place to get your feet wet is in the Holy Bible. And here it is. And there are various places to start in the Holy Bible just to get a feel for what's going on. And we're going to talk this time about starting to get a feel of what's going on in the Old Testament. And so we're going to go from the New to the Old, and we're going to go to look at 3 books in the Old Testament. They are Psalms, Proverbs, and the book of Ecclesiastes. Now, Psalms are a bunch of poems about God and what he's doing, and some of the trials that people face, and that this would have been Old Testament people, faced in the Old Testament, about dealing with what was going on in the world. And so there's songs about God, poems, things that are very poetic, but they tell you, or set the stage for lots of things that are going on in a very poetic and romantic kind of way. And then there's the book of Proverbs. Now, the book of Proverbs, written primarily by King Solomon, but there are some others in there too, and they talk about God's wisdom. How does God think? And how does God want you to think? And so it's far more practical than the book of Psalms. And by the way, in the book of Psalms, you can start anywhere. And, in the book of Proverbs, you can start anywhere. And you can read a few or a lot, just like in the book of Psalms. And you can, take notes if you want, especially when ideas pop out at you. But you're in the Psalms, it's poetry, singing about God and what he's doing and the role he plays with each of us, or each of them, each of us. And Proverbs gets more down to earth, and Ecclesiastes gets even further down to earth about what's going on in the world, how we are supposed to understand the world. Now, each in their own way are poetic and stuff. That means there's a lot of figurative speech. And so you take figures of speech literally as figures of speech. In other words, they're poetic, and they often expand or go beyond what the real reality is, but in that going beyond is a sense of the reality that they're talking about. And in Proverbs and Psalms, you can start anywhere. In Ecclesiastes, you ought to start at the beginning. But those 3 books in the Old Testament are good ways of getting your feet wet. You can do it on your own and any time. If this piques any interest, share it with someone if you would, Couldn't hurt. By the way, God has a plan for your success, and we're here to help you work it.